Now to look at the registers, look at how the calculator's put together. So we'll take a look at the registers of the HP-12C. And a register is just a simple place to store a number. It's basically a number holder. So don't let the word register, throw you off or anything. We'll start with, and we're going to look at all the registers, but we'll start with the 5 financial registers. They are independent of everything else on the calculator. You can do any and all your other calculations on the calculator without ever disturbing the financial registers. These are very powerful registers. There's 5 of them. We'll see how those work and have an effect on the stack registers, if you will. Now the stack registers are, it's the workhorse or the engine. It's the place where everything happens. It's particularly between the X and Y register. The X and Y register is where everything happens in the HP-12C, except for the financial registers. Here's a little graphic that'll kind of let you see what the stack registers are. Actually, the display on the calculator is a window which looks into the X register. And as depicted by this little diagram, the X register actually contains a number that is accurate out to 9 decimal places. You have basically 9 digits in the register. How many of those digits show or are displayed in the display is a function of you and what you tell the calculator to display. And you tell the calculator to display 2 digits by pressing the F key and the digit 2. Or if you want 10 digits out here, or 9 digits out here, you can press F9 and it'll display all 9 digits. But again, the display is a window into the X register. Now, the Y register can be viewed if you press the XY key, and it'll just it flip-flops these two, the X register for the Y register. And we can manipulate the other registers, the Z and the T, or the top register, by the roll-down key and the XY key. So you have access to these 4 registers, and the Z register and the T register are used in arithmetic operations where you have more than one thing, A plus B, and then you have another operation, C times D, and then you take the results of those 2 or intermediate results and add them together. So the Z and the T registers hold intermediate results of a more complicated equation, if you will, or math problem. Anyway, those are the stack registers, and that's kind of a way to remember them. But stack registers are where everything happens in the 12C. In addition to those financial registers and the stack registers, we have what's called the storage registers. And the storage registers, you can just store numbers in these registers, and they go from register 0 to register 9, or register 0.0 to 0.9. And you can put any kind of numbers in here. These can be full of numbers, and you can do financial calculations with the financial registers, and you will never, it doesn't matter. The financial registers don't care if these storage registers have any numbers in them or not. It doesn't care about the stack register when you do the financial. And likewise, when you do the arithmetic registers, or when you do arithmetic operations, functions, or date functions, or statistical functions, it doesn't matter that these storage registers have numbers stored in them. It just doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if there's numbers in the financial registers. I used to, before we got cell phones, a customer would give me a phone number. If I didn't have a pen or a pencil to write it down on, and I was on a telephone or something, I'd whip out my 12C and I'd key the number in and just store it in one of the registers. Later, when I got home, I could pull it out and put the phone number in my directory. But you don't need to take and clear the register. You don't. F clear X will clear all of these registers plus the last X register. These are all of the registers on the calculator. As a matter of fact, there's 30 total registers on the HP-12C. And when you hit the F clear register, put zeros in all of these registers, and then you can go ahead and do your whatever it is you wanted to do. Well, that's a wasted move. It really is. And the F fin, which clears the financial registers, same thing. You don't need to clear the financial registers before you use the financial registers. That is totally absurd. Anyway, enough of my soapbox. These are the 30 registers of the HP-12C. Now, and just in summary, everything, the arithmetic functions, the percentage functions, the calcular functions, the statistical and the special functions, they all work with the XY registers. The financial registers don't. The only thing the financial register uses is the X register to display the results. Okay? So, two examples of the financial registers. Here I've shown the actual keyboard layout of the financial registers. You'll notice the keys have a yellow label above them and a blue label on the beveled face of the key and a white label on the key itself. And depending on what you're doing with the financial registers, you invoke the G key to get the blue functions or the F key to get the gold functions. Let's look at an example. In this example, we want to know what the monthly payment would be to fully amortize a $250,000 loan over 30 years with an annual interest rate of 6%. And when we say fully amortize, we mean pay it off in total over 30 years. So on the first line here, I've got a G end in here. And if you don't see a begin in the display of your calculator, then you're in the end mode, and that's the mode that you want to be in for most financial problems. Loans are usually made after 30 days of having the loan out, or 31 days. Very seldom do you pay at the beginning of the period, but if you had a financial problem where you needed calculations where you were going to pay the principal and the interest before using the principal, then you would put it in the begin mode and you would have a little begin sign in the display. So right now, if we hit the G end, that for sure puts us in the end mode, but you don't need to do it unless you see a begin in the display. And what's in the display is meaningless. We're just setting it to the end mode. So when we use the financial registers, we have to put in 4 of the 5 inputs. We're given 3 up here, the $250,000, the 30, and the 6% interest, and implied implicitly is that the fact after we've amortized, the fully amortized, means that the future value is going to be 0. So we actually have 4 values here: the $250,000, the 30 years, the 6%, and a future value of 0. So we'll key those into the calculator, and we do the $250,000 PV, and that's the present value of the loan. 30GN. When we invoke the G key, we're actually putting in the number of payments we're going to be making. We set up here monthly payment. What would the monthly payment be? Well, if it's for 30 years, we have 12 payments per month, and we want to invoke the little 12 multiply. Now I've indicated the N key here, but keep in mind it's the N key, but it's the blue function part of the N key that we're using, which is the 12 multiply. So we do 30G, 12 multiply, we get 360. Same with the GN or GI. We're there dividing with the blue function part of the key, and it's 6 divided by 12, or it's 0.5. And this is the periodic interest rate. The periodic interest rate, or let's say the interest that you're going to use, has to be the same period-wise. If we're doing monthly calculations, monthly payments, we've got to have a monthly interest rate. The periodic interest rate has to be the same. If we were making one payment per year and we had a yearly payment, then we would use a yearly interest rate. We put 0 in FX and press the payment, we get the running, and it comes up with $1,498.88. Let's take a quick look at actually keying it into the calculator.